Welcome back. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is learning how to tie 4 of the most important knots that every sailor should really know. We'll first start with some of the more easier knots to learn and to tie and work our way to the trickier ones. So the first knot that we're going to look at is going to be the figure 8 knot. So the figure 8 knot is used at the end of the line as a stopper knot to keep the line from running out. So a good example of that would be on the main sheet. So we use a stopper knot on the end of a main sheet so that, for instance, if we let our sail all the way out, the stopper knot will prevent the main sheet from running out of the block too far and coming undone. So it's very easy to tie a figure 8 knot. You want to start with one end of the line, and the first step is going to be to make a loop. So I have the loop and I have the tail of the line over top. The next step is going to be to make another loop, but this time you want to have the tail going underneath the line. So now we're starting to see the 8 shape. Remember, one over top, and then you want to put it underneath. And the last step is going to be to take that tail and come over the top and through that first loop that you made, and you pull from both sides, and then you have your figure 8. So the next knot that we're going to look at is going to be the square knot. So the square knot is used anytime that you want to join 2 ends of a line together. And you may not even realize it, but anytime that you tie your shoelaces, you're actually using a square knot. So to start, you want to have both of your ends. And there's actually a really easy and quick saying that can help you to remember how to tie a square knot perfectly every time. That's going to be right over left, left over right. So once you have our 2 ends, follow our saying, we go right over left, just like you're tying your shoe, and then left over right. So you want to do the same exact thing, but this time you want to put the left line over the right, and then when you pull them all, you're going to get a square knot. A very common mistake is if you put the wrong end over the second time, it won't come out quite right. So say if I do right over left twice, you see this isn't quite what a square knot should look like. The ends are coming out each side as opposed to going along. So just to do it one more time, right over left, left over right, and pull. So the next knot that we're going to look at is going to be the cleat hitch. So the cleat hitch is used to secure a line to a deck cleat. These deck cleats are usually found on docks and are meant to be used to tie your boats up. It's important to know this knot for whenever you're sailing, because you never know when you're going to need to come in and tie your boat up to a dock. So to tie a cleat hitch, you're going to need your cleat, and then you're going to need one end of the line. The first thing you're going to do is take that end and wrap it around the cleat once at the very base. The next step is going to be to start crisscrossing around the cleat. So we're going to go underneath one end and then over top the middle. And then we're going to basically repeat that on the other side. So underneath, over top the middle. And then there's one more step to tying the cleat hitch, and that's going to be the final loop. So to make this loop, it's important that you make it the right way. So when I make it, notice how the tail is going to be going underneath the line, so that when I secure it around, it's going to look like that. So an easy way to know that you've tied it right is when you're looking at your cleat hitch, it's gonna be one line going over top of two lines in the middle. So you can think of it as a bridge going over a river. So just like the square knot, or a common error that people make is gonna be making that loop the wrong way. So again, you wanna have it going underneath in the same direction as that other line. But to say if we went the wrong way, like this, and tried to tie it, doesn't really turn out very well. So, one more time, the loop, and tie the hitch. And now it's secure. So the last knot that we're gonna look at is gonna be the bowline. So the bowline, also referred to as the king of knots, can have multiple uses aboard a boat, and is probably one of the most important knots to know while sailing. So what the bowline basically does is it creates a fixed loop at the end of the line wherever you tie it, that you can then use to secure around things. So you can tie this around a pole, or you can just tie the loop itself and use it for other things. Okay, so to tie the bowline, you're gonna need one end of the line, and the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna make a loop with plenty of tail left, with the tail going over the rest. Now what you wanna do is you wanna take one hand, and you wanna grab that loop and make sure you're holding on to that. Then take your other hand with the tail, and you wanna come up through the loop. Now once you're up through the loop, the next thing you wanna do is you're gonna come around and below the rest of the line. And remember to still hold the loop with your left hand. Next, you wanna take the tail and go down through that first loop that you were holding and grab it from the other side. Now, all we need to do is pull the end while still holding on, and we have a bowline. So when you tie this, you can make the loop as big as you want or as small as you want, and it's all depending on how much tail you have. I'm gonna tie it one more time. And this time I'm gonna use a metaphor that really helped me when I was learning. So when you make the loop, think about this as a rabbit hole, all right? You have your rabbit hole, you have a tree that's been created from the loop. So the tree is gonna be the rest of the line that's going underneath the tail. And then you have your rabbit. So, if you think about it this way, the rabbit comes through the hole, it goes around the tree, and back down the hole. And when you pull it all together, it should look like that.